Gentlemen, we are back with the Artbeat. We keep on skipping a few days, but you'll you'll bear with us. We are trying to figure out a few things here and there so that we can serve you better. Yes, but we are back with the Artbeat, and the team is a bit brief today.
Yeah.
Some people decided to disappear, but they'll be back with us next week. I have Isaac with me here. Today I'll introduce you guys so that we don't... Isaac here from the Daily Monitor, and Andrew Kagwa again from the Daily Monitor. My name is Regan, and we want to kick off with Big Size Biebe Cool. Ever since he released his album, he just can't leave our faces, our lips, our television sets, our YouTube channels, and everywhere. He's all over the place. He's busy trying to push the album. And guys, I want us to start with, there's been a bit, even though I've seen Bebe Cool trying to avoid the fact that some people have criticized the album variously, but we've seen people throwing in comments here and there, opinions, how their opinions on how the album is moving and how it's doing on the streams, the streaming platforms here and there. But Andrew, in your opinion, we are about 2 weeks and about 3 or 4 days since the official release of the album.
I think tomorrow it will be officially like 3 weeks.
3 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your assessment of the album so far? How is it moving on the streams, on the streaming platforms? How is in your opinion, how's the album performing so far?
No, this is not my opinion. This is the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have it. Yeah.
Well, I think the album is moving great. Moving great. And since I said it's the truth, I will be backing up what I'm saying. I think when you look at the streaming platform most Ugandans are using, which is YouTube, we're talking about more than 200,000 streams for 2 songs. That's Check and Boy Like Me.
Yeah.
But overall on YouTube, I think he's looking at about 500K streams collectively on the album.
Yeah.
And then when you look at Spotify, before Bebe Cool released Circumference, he had 40,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And for the time he released Circumference, I think he jumped up to around 60,000. And when the album released, he jumped by like 50% from 60 to right now he has about 150,000 monthly subscribers. So for me, I think the album is moving great. Though I think the one thing I would say about Ugandans when Uganda Valley Imba. One, you see, because when they released that video of Juliana talking about the album and what she thinks about it, there was a part where she said her best song is Home.
Yeah.
And every Ugandan after that said their favorite song was Home.
Yeah, I've seen so many people throwing around the title.
When you look at the back end and you see the songs people are listening to in Uganda, it's Boy Like Me and Check.
Yeah.
So who are those people?
Hidden Agenda is
Hidden Agenda is also not as much, but it's Home. I mean, it's
Boy Like
Me
and
Check. And so who are all those people who keep saying around, home, and then they touch their chest like, who are those people?
Man. Actually, Home, that song, the buzz around it started from the listeners' party. After that listeners' party, everyone came out saying Home is their almost everyone. Home is their best, favorite song. But it's not, and I want to agree with you. It's not doing. It's not performing as good as the other songs that we mentioned.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isaac, what is your assessment of the album from where you sit?
I won't disagree with Kagwa. At least with this album, some songs are playing on radio.
Radio?
Yes,
I think maybe
radio.
I'm not just a good listener of radio.
Yeah, but I've listened to a couple of radio stations.
And they are playing
They are playing that, and it's not just one song. They are playing like a variety of songs of the album. Baby Cool, like we said, he's so intentional with this album.
Yeah.
And now he's doing a media tour in Uganda about this album. I think he has so far gone to like 7 radio stations in a space of like a week. Every day he visits a certain radio station.
And about 4 or 5 TV stations. I've seen
Yes,
him on
so,
quite a
so
number of
he's really trying to push the album, and it's getting the reception
that it
needs
deserves,
to get,
or that he wanted it to get. Yeah.
However, I'm a bit disappointed with him in regards to the criticism. Criticism will always be there.
Yeah. I've seen him trying to brush it off.
Yes, but for the years he has been in the industry and the experience he has, he should
know better.
That criticism has to be there.
Yeah.
I saw him get back at James Proper.
Yes.
With the statements he made, but truth be told, what Proper said was the actual truth.
Yeah.
What Bebe needs to do is follow what Proper said, probably
improve on the next project.
Yes, not just on the next project, because it's too early. He has just dropped the album. Yeah, so he should just put it into consideration what he was told and move on. I don't think Proper was coming from a proper place.
Yes.
When he said what he said about the album. He was at the listeners' party. I was with him, and what he said, he told me at the listeners' party what Bebe needs to do for that album to be a success on the global continent, not just Uganda. For Uganda, he knows what he's doing, but does he know what he should do when it comes to
the global stage?
Yes.
And of course, you see, like I've listened, the problem I have with Bebe Cool fans is they do not want to listen to even objective criticism. Like they dismiss everything. The moment it's a criticism against something Bebe Cool has done, for them it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you still remember the press conference where Bebe Cool said this album is going to change, it's a game changer. Like he told us a couple of things which tuned Ugandans to a certain wavelength of where this album was going to go and how it was going to play out. Truth is, yesterday Burna Boy announced his album as well.
Yes.
He announced the date, and then after announcing the date, the next thing that followed was him announcing the tour. Truth is, for Bebe Cool at the moment, what Proper said of he does not have to be in Uganda, he should not be in Uganda.
Yeah.
There is no reason why Bebe Cool is in Uganda at the moment. Because, the album is meant to be a global thing.
Maybe he wanted to start from home, because some of the people who are criticizing him were like, he did the album for Nigerians, he sang like a Nigerian. So probably he's trying to endear the album to Ugandans, try and appreciate the album before he blows out there. Don't you think that's what he's trying to do?
But you see, a lot of music comes out every single week. And when we say being out of Uganda, we are not even talking about Bebe Cool being in London or the US. There is Kenya. He could go to Kenya. Or even if he doesn't go to Kenya, he could be working with some Kenyans to make things happen. Like I could mention about 10 Kenyans that Bebe Cool calls friends, like from Nameless, Red Sun. You could go on and on. I think that should be word out, and that word should not be coming from Uganda at the moment. There should be word coming from elsewhere, but about the album.
So you feel like he's spending a lot of time here?
Yeah.
I saw a clip of Yemi Alade vibing and singing to their Love Africa jam.
Yes.
And I felt that was good.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Yes, that was so good. And I have it on credible sources that he's heading to South Africa. But the reasons is that he's going to probably do 2 video shoots of some of the songs of the album. He has also been moving around with Joshua Baraka, tapping into that. Joshua Baraka's Masanyalaze, afuna Masanyalaze okuva ku Joshua Baraka. And I think he should be doing more of that. He should.
Speaking about Joshua Baraka, when we say 5 years ago, if you said that Joshua Baraka one day Bebe could be picking Masanyalaze from him, one would even attempt to slap you or anything like that. But the boy just can't stop, making moves. He's been consistent. He's and when you look at how much effort he puts in, you can say he's doing it effortlessly. You don't see him, trying to be very aggressive and pushing here and there. But whatever he tries to touch just works out for him. The song "Wrong Places" is moving. But I think he now opened an open verse for other artists and whoever tries to jump on the song. What is Joshua Baraka doing right that our artists, our musicians here have not done for a very long time?
I think to talk about what Joshua Baraka is doing right, you need to start with Alien Skin.
Okay.
One, to say it better in Luganda, wano twalinawo akatiba akabayimbi abatambuza endongo y'e Kampala. That's from bayimbi, ba presenters, ba media personalities, nga neka industry abasatu bakakwata ne bakanyweza nga kaabwe. So Alien Skin comes about ng'ebintu byabijjeeyo ku TikTok gyakolera numbers ze najja n'akubawo ebiyimba nga biringa ebiri incomplete ng'akola ebintu kale toyinza gamba nti twali tubitegeera nnyo but just know is that he disrupted status quo yaliwo. One ey'abayimbi cause olaba nti bwe yadisruptinga n'amenya ekisenge nga bw'olaba Radio and Weasel bwe badisruptinga ne bamenya ekisenge naye bwe bajja n'adisruptinga n'amenya ekisenge newabaawo abayitiramu nti Radio and Weasel bwe bamenya mwayitiramu abo ba GNL ba Keko, like there was a whole new school that came with Radio and Weasel breaking in and coming through. Ono yaleeta yakwata ghetto n'agireeta. Mudra yaliwo but mwagiramu I think bakapeke ani ono omwana omulala naye ayina eggaali Gaza. Gaza. So Chumi nono omuwala omulala ayina eggaali
Nando Love.
So Nando Love ayina eggaali. Okay. Okay, we move on.
So like one, they disrupted the status quo. Kati mu kudisrupting awo waliwo omujiji ogwakitegeera nti one, we actually do not need radio and TV to break through. And I think mu mujiji omwo Joshua Mwagira, like abakimanyi nti you do not need radio and TV to break through. You can use other means to break through. Joshua comes, he has his breakthrough, like the way he markets his things, he does not need media, very traditional. Basically, he just needs his community. Ey'abantu abamutegeera n'abeera ng'agizimbira awo. Nti kyogezaho okubuuza nti what is he doing and things seems to be working out. He knows abantu abamutegeera. He's not trying to compete with you because obuzibu bwe tubadde wano nabo wano mu music.
He's not trying to compete with anyone.
Yeah, he's not trying to compete with anyone. Obuzibu obubadde businga okuleetera abazibu wano mu Uganda, abayimbi obuzibu wano mu Uganda bubadde nti an artist shows up and n'akubayo hitemu and immediately say Chosen Becky shows up and immediately someone ayimba ku mikolo at that time, probably it could be Rema, starts feeling threatened. This boy shows up and he shows you he actually doesn't need your performances. He's not taking anything away from you, but his music is playing.
Yeah.
He makes a hit and he's not taking up your spaces. In fact, he makes it so hard to be seen at your spaces. So no mtu no guy, okay, he's not interested in my spaces. Kamulek. And then before you know, he's becoming bigger and bigger. Mainly
still staying humble at that.
And still staying humble. Mainly because yafayo musical to kambantu tali mukurana nawe mbu ajja performing kuzina agenda performing kunkuka no eyo fight tajirimu. So because of that, like abasinga tebategedde like babadde tebamutegeera, it's so hard to create a fight with him because he's not fighting with you, because I was watching still okuba fight awo
the spark comes from
simanyi performance performing and then gendawo nti oyo gundi yagambye abaana bato baveeyo ffe like our fight was still okugiraawo nga tugenza okuperforming live, but he's not there to fight you. So it's probably one of the things that make him an enigma. Ate mpulira nti waliwo omuyimbi eyagambye ti omwana ayagala tulabisa nga abatayimbangako.
Off air you'll tell us that musician.
I'm seeing Joshua Baraka being torn between a rock and a hard place. His nephew.
Who's that?
His
Tuleke his uncle.
His uncle.
Who is that?
His uncle Bebe Cool. Balina oluyimba olutambula.
Check.
And Bebe has realized that he really needs this guy by his side.
Yeah.
Amwetaagira ddala. Joshua ayagala pleasinga uncle we. Because of the respect biki byonna ebyo. Joshua has a song that is moving, his solo song, Wrong Places.
Wrong Places.
Nti divided attention yeyo agenda gikola atya. Tulabye Joshua Baraka ali mu saloon, bali mu supermarket, oba bakola promo video, I don't know.
They're doing visualizers.
Okay, visualizers with Bebe Cool.
I think Bebe Cool will try to go all out on that video.
On that video, okitegeera. Naye akiramu nno oluyimba Check lukola ki? Joshua Baraka aluwongeddeko nnyo. Kati Joshua Baraka luno oluyimba olwa Wrong Places. Already waliwo ne luno olwa uncle. Lwataddeko ebirowoozo.
So far I think abadde akyandolinze bulungi, because you can see nti amidst the two songs being pushed, Wrong Places and Check, era Wrong Places but still it has airplay. It is moving, there's buzz around it, because we challenges other people jumping on the song. I think he has a good team.
If you watched an interview of his where they asked him why he doesn't collaborate with many local artists, actually bamubuuziza upcoming nti upcoming bakayana ntokola nabo, n'abagamba nti upcoming tebali organized. Like oluusi omubuuza ebibuuzo n'omugamba when do you want to release, promotion ye egenda bbeera etya, biki n'omubuuza ebintu bingi nga talina kyakuddamu. Cause jjukira Joshua is a signed artist. Totasobola collaboratinga naye olimba ne balugaana ofuluma
balutuulako.
Cause waliwo abaafulumya olimba lwa Joshua nga teba clearance basi ne bagijjako neryoka ekomawo 2 days later. Obategedde.
Basi magistrating.
Basi yavaako ne tuwulira olima nga basi teriiko amaloboozi gonna gavuddemu aga Joshua. Bwe baklearinga basi nekomawo. So the thing with it, an artist ali signed to a label, ebintu birina engeri gye bitambulamu. Kati abayimbi ba Uganda basinga baagala kijire mu vibe, ate ne release yaabwe ebeera ya vibe. So ye engeri gy'abeera nga ali planned nti ngenda kufulumya olimba ku lunaku bwe ruti, ayina okuplanninga naawe gwe notafulumya at that same time, cause tasobola promoting a nyimba biri at the same time. For Wrong Places and Check, I think we need to remember that Wrong Places was promoted for a month before it came out. Like challenge zaliwo, bushoti bwaliwo for nearly a month. So you could say at the moment, Cyril Yimbo luchetaga pushing, because I mean it's number 20 on YouTube in Kenya, and that's it coming from I think number 30 last week.
That's Wrong Places.
Yeah, Wrong Places.
The last I checked on Spotify, it was 57 in Uganda.
And I think it has about
Top 157 in Uganda.
And at the moment, I think it has about 2 million streams on Spotify. So I think dwoche lukoze luchikoze kati tachali awo nti
People have tried to
areraliikirira
compare Baraka's numbers with Break the Chains numbers because
abaana beeyisa bubi.
Bapaki.
Beeyisa bubi balina n'empisa embi.
Why should they? Newebuuza agenda eriki.
No, because the songs, the album, and
because
the song,
of the talkability of the album.
Yes, but also the two projects came out almost within the same period.
Okay, no. Bulungi. They are comparing Joshua's Wrong Places with Baby Cool's entire album.
Yes.
Okay, ate that ezafuluma nabudde bwe bumu.
Wrong Places came slightly before the album.
It came out on 16th
of which month?
Of May.
And if about 2
the
weeks
album
later
came about 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Those
which
like
do
you know what
difference.
2 weeks mean for people streaming that song for
but
2 weeks?
Break the chains. It's break the chains. So people are arguing that the album should have a bit.
Let me tell you, in
now.
this arena, eya streaming,
Joshua
Baraka yasinga Bebe Cool obukulu. Si mu bubi. And I think
he's a senior to
he's a senior.
Bebe Cool yekka.
Yeah, sina Bebe Cool yekka. Mu industry bantu bangi basinga obukulu mu that arena. Chovola bantu it's not Joshua Baraka following.
So it should not
Bebe
shock
Cool.
us that Bebe Cool is for the last 1 or 2 weeks is clinging onto Baraka.
Yes.
And it is the right thing.
Ate era ne bw'oyogera naye ajja kugamba alina ebintu bye yeewuunyiza. Like ayina amaanyi g'omwana oyo g'ategedde nga naye abadde tagasuubira.
Okay, we hope for the best for that album. But before we go to our main topic for today, there's been a backlash coming towards Rema Namakula. She did a remix of Orezi's song. I forget the title of that song. I don't know if you guys have listened to the song.
Yeah, I've listened.
Something to party?
Yeah, something like that. But people have not welcomed that remix, saying that Rema sounded in such a way that does not speak to the sound of Rema that we're used to, and feels
but
like
how did she sound?
To some people, it felt like a forced remix that didn't really fit into what Rema is musically. If in your assessment, let me start with Isaac. You've listened to that song.
Yeah, I've listened to it, and I love that song.
Yeah.
They vibe together. Omanyi Rema is one of the talented artists we have.
Yeah.
She's
good.
Whoever is saying Rema sounded different, they are wrong. Rema sounded Rema.
Yeah.
She sounded Rema.
I agree.
The only problem I have with that song is I believe they would have done a fresh song.
Not a remix.
Not a remix.
Because the song has actually been there for quite some time.
A very long time.
Baali badde bakola oluyimba olupya ne tugendera ku olwo. Because I believe era still credit goes to Orezi. Ne remix eno. So, but whoever is disregarding Rema.
Like Isaac, let me ask you, how many songs has Orezi done with Ugandans? Okay, I've asked that, but I'm trying to check. Like how many?
Does he have a song with Shiba?
Which
is
that?
Shiba, then Ovani Kenzo. I'm not so sure.
But I think
because he has a song with Shiba. which is called Sweet Secession. It has 21 million views on YouTube. Okay, I'm trying to find his YouTube channel without really playing a song, and I think that's not disrespect. This is for research.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
So when you look at his YouTube, truth is, most of his songs have very, very few views. The biggest song on his YouTube channel is Secession, 21 million views.
With
Sheba. With everything we know about Nigerians working with Ugandans, them knowing that wanwaliwa masanyalaze gaabwe in some way or another. And I was also told that Orenzi made about 25 million Ugandan shillings in caller tunes
From
Uganda. And apparently, I say apparently because I'm not sure, like someone told me, that even before they released this one with Rema, he first worked with a team of okutereza his caller tune things to be in order. You know, Uganda is currently the biggest market where caller tunes are still active. Like most countries have kind of migrated from caller tunes because people are using a lot of WhatsApp calls and the likes. So for me, what I think, this guy yabaziza kintu kye, yashile Rema be Rema, not to try to make her sound in a different way to like be international. Bakoze oluyimba he wants it to work very well in Uganda. Probably end up on caller tunes again. Yeah, abekoza kutula, because Nigerians are very, very money oriented. So the way I think about it, Guy Yetafayo, whether this song is a very big hit, he doesn't want the song to be a hit in Nigeria. I don't think he wants to make a hit with a song that was already a hit like very many years ago. He's just trying to kupima mufe wano.
Yeah, kitambula kitya.
Yeah.
Okay, away from Rema and Orezi, we had left Bebe Cool and his family, but I want us to go back a little bit to that family. Okay, why are you shocked, Andrew? Okay, so this week, I think it was around Tuesday, around there, Bebe Cool's wife, Zuwena Kirema, was angered by how people were attacking her daughter, Beata, and her husband's nemesis's daughter, Shalom. Now, the two girls, Shalom and Beata, had prom parties at their various respective schools.
Okay.
I think it was Beata who posted a photo shoot of her prom party, the dress she was putting on and everything. She was looking good. Then I think maybe the same day or a day after, Shalom also, Bobi Wine's daughter, posted a similar photo shoot of how she was dressed for the prom party and all that. And you know how Ugandans are, they quickly started comparing the two.
Yeah.
Who dressed better, who looked better, and they brought in the feud between the...
Before they bring in the fathers.
Their feud, the feud between the fathers, and Zuwena was not happy. With that, she put up a post on her, I think this is X, and I want to read it quickly. It's so sad how foreigners see Ugandans as welcoming and good people, but we are tearing each other apart from within. Anything that a Ugandan does is always criticized by fellow Ugandans. We just don't want to see the other doing better. Who told Ugandans that every post one makes is about competition? Today, I stand to stop this nonsense of comparing young children. Stop creating unnecessary drama. These two young girls are good friends, so please stop immature behavior. To my lovely daughters, Beata and Shalom, you are beautiful and truly loved. Heads high as you keep chasing your goals. Guys, did Zuwena bow to the pressures of social media? Did she fall for that? Or do you think she actually had a point going on, Andrew?
Yes, she had a point. It was important for her to do that, and it was very stupid for
whoever,
social media people to start that comparison. Because I think even when they started the comparison, I saw someone call the person who posted it out. Like, did you have to do it? And yeah, they are kids. They're kids. Like, no one should be pulling that. Because let's remember, like, yeah, even Solomon and Alpha are friends, but every time they post a picture, people just go on into about their father's relationship. So like, yeah, Zuena was right to call that out.
And just a few days before Zuena posting that, Bebe Cool had an interview at NBS, KURT, and he said the differences he has with Bobby Wine do not extend to the
He actually
wives,
said
to
he
the
has no
children.
problem with the other family.
It is just both of them.
Yeah.
Yes, as adult men. But he explained it that Beata, Shalom, Solomon, they are all friends. They visit each other. Bamanyi bifu yawe wekoma nga baba zadira. They wouldn't want anyone to infringe.
And none of them has ever mentioned anything about the others.
Yes.
Anything foul or anything like
Nti
that.
kino kintu si kyakwesibako nti nno oba Bebe Cool yesiba ku baana booli oba Bobby Wine yes. No. The children, the wives are friends.
And I think the wives have handled this thing very well.
Yes. Yeah. So for Zuena to come out with that post, I think she has had enough.
Yeah.
Omanyi, okay, the comparisons will always be there because of their father, because of it's called extended prominence, because of the fathers. The differences the fathers have, bigenda kupaka ku family.
Trickling down.
But it needed someone to come out
and say something
about it. Because it had nothing to do with the daughters. Prom party, they went for a photo shoot. Comparing. And you know, with Ugandan social media, people keep sharing, people keep saying whatever who is more beautiful, bichi ono yakopi ono.
I saw a journalist from Galaxy TV saying that Zuena, we have cornered you into the place where we wanted you to be.
You can imagine.
And it was just weird. Anyway, guys, away from that, I want us to go into our topic of the week. And today we want to talk about, we actually had a different topic, but then the budget happened. And for the first time, it affected art.
Yeah.
In such an interesting way. So to begin with, the art sector was this time round, okay, in the budget they called it the creative industry.
Yes.
The budget allocation showed that the creative industry this time round will be getting 66 billion.
Yes.
I've been doing a bit of research about this because I'm writing a story about the same, and I noticed that this is the first time the creative industry, and I'm talking about creative industry as in arts, music, and all these are the domains as we know them for the art industry.
Yeah.
This is the first time they are being recognized in the budget. Because previously, from what I noticed, the cultural institutions or the culture sector, but specific to the cultural institutions as in kingdoms, have been getting the lion's share when it came to that sector.
Yes.
For the creative industry, this is probably the first time they are being recognized with some budget, a bit of budget in the national, budget. Quickly after that budget was read, of course, various artists commented, reacted, leaders,
and others tried to take credit.
Of course, there has to be someone who has to take credit.
Well, others, began to take credit. We have been building this thing for a long time. This is how far we've come now. The budget was not really in the budget. The budget speech, I don't know if you guys have read it, but the budget speech does not break it down further. But I tried to find out a bit of a few figures here and there, how it's going to be distributed within the sector. But before we go deep into the budget, Andrew, should we celebrate that finally government of Uganda is recognizing the creatives or the creative industry as such an important sector in the country?
Yeah.
Or we
Yeah,
are into more of the same as business as usual?
It's a yes and no. One truth is we need to celebrate the fact that they spared a section in there much as they couldn't really.
A paragraph in there.
Yeah, they spared and they put. There were two actually.
Sure.
They put two paragraphs in there about the creative industry. But you see, the thing is, it's so hard to know if the people that spared and put us in there knew exactly what the industry needs. And you see, when people do not know what the industry needs, there are chances that they will allocate, and probably the money will end up with people that also do not know what the industry really needs. So the only thing they mentioned in that budget, when it came to that paragraph of the creatives, I think was how a part of that will be spent on like copyright implementation.
Yes.
For me, that looked like a chance for money to be stolen, because like I do not know a market where they are putting money aside to work on the implementation of copyright, because copyright, or to put it in a simple words, intellectual property. Intellectual property is me owning something I created, and you can't even implement me owning that. Like, I own it the moment I write it, I own it the moment I sing it. To prove if it's mine is me proving that I actually wrote it. I do not understand why we need like a section to implement that. So like I saw a lot of issues with just that part.
The argument there is that now, since musicians have been, and through their leadership, UNMA for example, have been agitating for reformed law, copyright and neighboring acts law, neighboring rights law. And so the money, and from the PS of gender, I realized that they are setting aside 5 billion for fast tracking the reforms and implementing this law, and so I also don't know exactly what this 5 billion is.
Like fast tracking the reforms, like those reforms just need to be signed.
Yeah. If you think about it, the 5 billion is just going to lie there.
So what's the 5 billion going to do? Like to fast track? Like, I mean,
they are probably
let's use it. Let's use it at a company level. Say you guys make a claim like you want your salaries to be increased, and then someone in the company says, yeah, you guys actually your salary should be increased. And what's needed after that is for people to know how much we should move you to. And then after that, probably the MD who is at the top will sign like, yeah, accepted. Which resources are needed to do that? Like which resources are needed to fast track? Like when billion etano zigenda kukola ki, like kugenda mu meeting,
and because and what's more mind-boggling is that before we reached here, the budget reading on 12th June, a lot of work was
already been done.
Concerning the copyright law and the amendment and all that. Actually the bill, the bill for the amendment of that act is in Parliament already.
Yes.
The first reading was done already.
Yes.
So you wonder what exactly is going, which other work now is going into that. And I tried to talk to Kenzo. He was, he was stammering a bit when
nagambe ekintu kimu ku Kenzo nti ebintu ebimu tajja biddamu nga bw'osuubira okitegeera. So because at the end of the day he's going to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Ate kati ekyo ekintu yakiyiga bulungi.
He avoids certain things.
He avoids. Ate kati alina omuntu alinga amanyimu ku bintu ebiki ndowooza amugamba nti ebintu ebimu tolina byewalire ddala. So I think Kenzo tulina omuspeyaringamukko mu bintu ebimu. Naye
but ebintu ebimu tabitegeera.
Of course tabitegeera. Tajja bitegeera. Naye nasoma paragraph eno. The shilling 66 billion allocation will support job creation, the acquisition of a permanent home for creative artists to produce and innovate. Kati nengamba, whoever did this paragraph,
18 billion is going to that. Yeah.
Okay, bagenda to them to allocate support job creation. Minimu ki gye bagenda okukola.
So here is the thing. So across the country, within 5 major cities, they're going to create regional creative centers for within 5 cities, 5 major cities. So each of those centers is going to have staff.
Okay,
people who are managing those centers.
That's already problematic.
So I guess that's
so
where
they are creating jobs for administrators.
2 to 3 years ago, bakola gundi eri bweti ne bagaba bagenda creating studios all over the country. Ziyambeko ku creatives okugenda ddala abayimbi ogenda abatalina busobozi kujja Kampala because they realized a lot of artists come from up country to record in Kampala.
Yes.
So they decided, they allocated a lot of money. Dr. Timo ali mu kintu ekyo. Ne bagaba bagenda kuzimba studios ebweru nti abayimbi abatasobola bakozese studios ezo.
Yes.
Paka kati wakayita emyaka ndowooza 3. Suulira ngayo studio nedi.
Sente ezo bazitadde mu budget.
Ate ng'ogyeko n'ekyo laba, which for me is the problem of people not understanding what the creative industry is. Ekireeta abantu okujja ne Kampala to produce music from up country is not because of the studios. It's because of the producers.
Yes. Yes.
Nti ne bw'ona akwata studio yaketya
N'ogitwala
eggulu
balira
n'otateekayo Banga Boy
oba Nesimu
oba Atin. Omwana ajja
kulinnya baasa ajje agende Makindya
kuba abamanyi n'essimu kiki kyasobola omukolera. Si studio.
Yes, si studio.
Kati ate ekya permanent home for creative artists.
Kati ekyo
kati kambuuze wano we tuli kyo ki? Because this is a permanent home for artists and it was built by artists. Bekunganya.
Okay, so the demand, because this government did not invent these demands. The demands came from associations of these artists through mainly UNMF, NCF.
But we've been telling people that UNMF does not understand what they are asking for.
Because when I talked to Kenzo, he told me that they told government that we need to decentralize art and these centers. We need to put up recording studios in different areas so that someone doesn't have to come to Kampala to get quality sound.
No.
You get so
people even live in Kampala to get quality sound from Kenya.
Kampala is not such a yardstick for
the thing is,
sound.
No one is coming to Kampala to get quality sound. People come to Kampala to get quality minds.
So guys, are you saying that government is going to just waste 18 billion because this particular project?
Bebe kute yazimba ko studio nga bayina mweri bameka ba recording irayo.
Waliwo ne studio eri oba eriwa eya Dr. Tijja akolamu.
Well, yeah, there is that studio as well.
Nayo yakolebwawo bagiteekawo kuyamba kuba artists genda ku recording baneka bakagenda ngate bagamba bwere ojukira twogera ku Dr. T okitegeera nti ne gundi ani general jamanyikiddwamu okuba nga akwasaganya obulungi tewali bayimbi bakola ki barecordingirayo weeri okitegeera
ne equipment mwali bulungi
bwali bulungi kuba nzijukira Dias yamukolako ne interview ng'ayita abayimbi bannaye mujje mu recording bameka abagendayo kiki ekigenda okukolebwa different ku kyayogerebwa this time round kuzino sente.
Now guys, you are scaring me and the people who are putting money into this whole thing.
No, it's because people do not know what they should be asking for. Our artists do not know what they should be asking for. One, they started by getting the wrong people to speak for artists. Like, yeah, no offense, Eddie Kenzo doesn't know what art needs.
He's the presidential advisor on creatives.
No. He needs to be advised himself. When we're talking about the guy who just became international by mistake.
Oh, God.
And he hasn't even done anything to maintain himself there. But somehow, because he came back with a glass from BET, we somehow thought that was enough to elevate him above everyone else. Cause bana it very serious. But tunakera nga software wa studio akadie. We go back to the government. Like, I mean, there is a studio ya Bebe Cool erimu ne cameras bameka bagishootingiramu.
And by the way, there's a lot of money that was spent on that studio.
Yes.
I remember that the time of that project.
At the end of the day, this creative industry is about wantu muntu wakolera obulungi. Nja kujja mu studio nga mwagikoze bulungi. Nga naye ya yellow triggers me. And I will not record.
By the way, if you look, actually these upcountry places, they actually have studios. I don't know if you guys have traveled.
Yes.
These places have studios.
They do.
You will go to like, let's say, give an example of Lira City. You walk around and there are studios.
And you see,
but I don't know if that is the major problem.
And you see, the thing with, like, one, even if you want to work with Swangs, and you're not in Kampala, you can still go to whichever studio you want. Record, you send them the stems. And then Swangs will get those stems. They will separate your vocals from the beats and everything. They can either clean the beats you gave them and they can clean your vocals, and like any studio, like any person that calls themselves a good producer can do that in Uganda.
I watched The Myth talking about how his verse came to be on the Amaso remix. Benon had sent him the beat weeks behind, and he had forgotten about the beat. So Benon reminds him about the beat, said there's studio time today, you can come and record. He said, I actually have not checked out the beat. He was on his way from Tororo in the car driving to Kampala, recorded something quickly. By the time he reached studio, they were just cleaning up.
Yeah.
And the song became whatever it became.
Yeah. So
decentralizing these studios is actually not the main problem.
It's not the main problem. Like, what artists need to be asking for spaces to actually be artists. Say, instead of asking for a studio, you should be asking for another national theater or a design hub of a sort, which is like a 5-in-1. Like, it has a bit of, actually those are like creative hubs. Like, we need those where people can perform. Actually, the word I was meant to say motive. We need like those motive where people can come. There is somewhere where you can perform. There's somewhere people can probably rehearse. Artists can come and book like an office for like $100K a month. Like, you do your artwork from there, you put your studio there and you're doing things. But these things of decentralizing, I hear studio. No, like, no one should be building people's studios.
People are recording from their homes.
People are recording from their homes. If you've ever heard of how Joshua Baraka recorded, not recorded, but how the remix of Dalila came to be. Like, Joshua did not meet any of these people to record. Like, all these people just sent their verses, and Joshua wasn't also in Uganda. He was receiving these verses from a hotel, I think in German, because he was on tour with Bien.
There's a song with Azawi and Sauti Sol. I think it's on her Sankofa album. That song was recorded in a hotel room.
Yeah.
In a hotel room, that's where they recorded it from.
And then someone is busy asking for a studio.
Is not a big
So
deal.
A studio is not a big deal.
But what's ironic though is that from the conversations I've had, the guys I talked to seem to be putting a lot of, emphasis on the industry having a lot of, these studios from wherever. But Isaac, the other thing that I picked was that, and this was from Ragadi, that now it's not just about the money that government pumped into the sector, but he was thankful that now government recognizes not just music, but all these other art forms, because he told me in the processes that went on in the background, they tried to inform government of all these other art forms, the dancers that are there, the visual artists, all of these other guys who are into art. So
who does he mean by they tried?
I'm so
them
worried.
as NCF, UNMF, and all these other bodies that engaged.
I'm so worried
government.
for other sectors besides music. Because yes, they are always talked about in the planning process. Naye kijja ku execution, when they receive the money, all these other sectors are forgotten. Yeah. The dancers, the poets,
the filmmakers,
the filmmakers, bonna. Wano muku submittinga what's the word? Muku submittinga proposals. Bakizimbulukusa ne babasaamu nti the creative industry is so huge in Uganda, mulimba drummers, mulimba instrumentalists, mulimba ani. But because tebalina bwogerero, their voices are not as vocal as the artists. Nti sente bwe zijja era zeekubira wantu wamu, federation oba egundi ya Ragadi NCF.
And do you know what's likely to happen? All those other sectors are likely to grow, and music will not.
True. Why?
Let's face it, music has declined. Like every time our music gets closer to power is the more it declines. Let's say, the guys did Tubonga Nawe and music started getting closer to power. We started declining. By the time we go to 2021, we had gotten really close. We declined the more. And right now, like it's even so hard to tell who is like Uganda's leading artist, like proper. Like it's so hard to tell. When you look at the songs that have come out this year, like you will have your Elijah Chitaka, Echange, but if you look at this time in 2023 or 2022, and you look at this time today now, it's like you're technically struggling to come up with a top 10 that makes sense. Ne top 5 menu making us sense. Yet, by the way, this, like the money that has been pumped in music for all these past years, obera onowulira simanya waliyo 13 ezazze, nowulira waliwo zino ezazze, but ekintu kyongera kufa bufi. So I believe the more that money keeps coming is the more it's going to keep most of those people grumbling and quarreling and then asking government for more.
I think Adjukida, this 66 billion. Zijja after they received, was it 23?
No, because last year, Bali bafuna 10. It was 10 billion. Yes. So it is actually part of that mwebayongedde is a revolving fund, which is 18 billion. And it brings me to my next question. The circle, the artist circle, The artists.
And what does it mean, artist circle? Artist circle for all artists or artist circle for abayimbi?
Okay, so now that is the problem because this revolving. Okay, so when the other money came last year, Baba Wayoko 5 billion. That money was received by UNMF. But it was going into the revolving fund for artists. So I don't know why it was. But
okay,
then we
in
know
which context was the artists?
I think the contest, because now we also need to understand that the people who talk to government, because when I was talking to the PS, it seemed to be a bit skeptical on who does what.
Exactly. Kati n'abayimbi batikola intentionally ku confusing abantu abo.
You get, because even his language was not well conversant with who does what, who is who in art, who is an artist basically. You get? So for him, so for most of these guys, I think an artist is a musician.
Which means whatever was talked about in that budget is thinking about
so
a
it should
musician.
not I think it should not shock us when much of this money benefits mostly the musicians.
All of this money, don't say
all of this money will benefit musicians.
Because you're talking about the circle. UNMF has a circle.
Yes.
Even Cindy's Uganda Musicians Association has a circle. There is a certain bank that pampered that circle. Buying a meeting over sharing, if memory serves me correct. Balika balina gundi awo nga bagamba bagenda kutandikawo saako y'abayimbi. Okitegeera. Then ne Halimo oba yali ayogera on behalf of that saako oba yali ayogera ku saako ndala. I don't know. Nga bagamba abayimbi mujje tubawoleeko miliyoni 2-3 depending ku kizibu ky'olina ojja komyawoko. So circles are everywhere mu industry. Okitegeera.
And circles for artists who sing.
Yes, for artists who sing. Because some even came up and complained abayimbi aba country. Nga bagani kati ffe tetulina kye tufuna mu circles zino. Bw'oba toyina linnya okitegeera. Noga oli muyimbi bajja kugagenda eri tetukola ki.
So okay, so this is what I picked, how it's going to work apparently. That this money, because it's now the pool now has, or that pot now has 23 billion. If you add the 5 billion from last year and the 18 billion that this financial year's budget stipulated, makes it 23 billion. The
23
money
plus the 66.
It is part of the 66. The 18 that was added from this year's.
So the whole total is 66.
Yes, but it's going to be distributed variously. The 18 is just part of, because there's also 5 billion, like I said, for the copyright amendment and whatever. So now they say this money is going to be accessed through regional associations. They're going to create associations, regional-based associations.
They are going to create. They are not there.
They're actually in the process of mapping out where, how, and all that.
So how are they a federation?
Kati in the language, kati okay, regions tukirese kati Kampala.
Kati waliwo Kampala UNMF one.
Ate Cindy, Uganda Musicians Association.
Cindy is one of those associations I'm talking about.
No.
That is supposed to federate with UNMF.
No. Do you know why it doesn't make sense?
Why?
One, if Cindy is an association, Uganda Musicians Association, like it's the Uganda Musicians Association.
The name itself, yeah.
It would be prudent for her to federate with other Uganda associations in music that probably are songwriters or what, to form UMNF if it was the right way. But the last I had, UMNF had associations like from Chotera, from Chengera, like technically all those associations should just be members of the
UNMF is leader, whom you all know.
Not like associations of villages that are doing the same thing that the big association is already doing.
So what you're basically saying is this money is going to be distributed among the different associations.
Yes, and if you want to access this money as an artist, I don't want to say
you have to be among.
You have to
be a member.
To belong to that association. You don't have to come to Kampala.
Okay, now nze lwaki nesibye nnyo ku kya Kampala. Do you know Chameleon has an association?
And two,
waliwo an association y'abayimbi abakadde
There are so many
waliyo eya
associations that-
band
Waliyo n'ey'abayimbi abato.
waliyo n'ey'abayimbi abato so kati ojja kusanga nga waliwo omuyimbi omu ng'agwa mu association nyeza
Yeah.
nnya oyo muyimbi agenda kikola ati
Bushington said that this is the worst mistake, the thing for circles, because he does not believe that artists, musicians to be specific, can pay back this money.
Yeah.
And yet, remember, it's supposed to be a revolving fund. It's not supposed to benefit only. These particular artists who have taken out the money. You take the money, bring it back, it benefits someone else. My question is here, guys, are we going to see more fights, more bickering, more disagreements?
Yes,
more,
we are.
Yeah.
Now that more money has
yes
come.
we are just not every time there's money involved mu music there's always going to be bickering always Cindy agenda kuyomba ne Kenzo Musicians Association egenda kuyomba ne UNMF abalala nabo bajje Chameleon mukama atuyambe afune ekimukola ki ekimbeeza busy kuba naye agenda kubeera involved at some point okitegeera abayimbi abalala bonna
Chameleon is a board member
of what
UNCC board of trustees.
ate neeri naye ayinayo ekifo jjukira mu UNMF.
UNMF. By the way, before I forget, guys, UNMF, sorry, this money is going to be channeled through UNCC. Does UNCC have the capacity
They are supposed
to
to.
handle these monies as they came in? Should we trust them that, okay, they will handle this?
They are supposed
We
to.
have a new board which has musicians. It's full of musicians.
They are supposed to, but whether they could handle it, that's a different question altogether. But they are supposed to.
To have the capacity to.
They're
Because they have
supposed
the
to have the
mandate.
capacity to. They're supposed to know what the industry needs. Because right now, if you ask me, I will still maintain what the industry needs as spaces. One shouldn't leave Mbarara to come to perform at Cricket Oval to feel like they've actually had a worthwhile concert of their lives as artists. And that can only happen if they avail them spaces from where they are. So UNCC is supposed to have the capacity to do that. But whether they have that, that's almost a story for another day. Whether we can trust Ojede with money, that's a bigger story for another day.
Guys, I want to pose this question to both of you. And I'll start with you, Isaac. If an artist, a musician, for example, a One Kapeke or any other musicians trying to come up, they're trying to, look for studio time in Machin, they're down there, they are probably, gotten a few of their songs playing on TV here and there. They're only big on TikTok. Or a painter or a dancer or, a poet who is only known by the few of us who come here at National Theatre every now and then, and we can see the face and recognize the person by name. But no one outside the National Theatre can recognize who this is and what they do. If they hear about this budget and the 66 billion, which is, can make you deaf, when you hear about it, what should come to them? What should this budget mean to them?
One thing, they should forget about this budget. Just concentrate on their art.
It's 66 billion. You can't just forget about 66 billion.
66
You
billion.
can.
66 billion. That is meant for everyone. But at the end of the day, 66 billion that is going to go to specific people. Okitegeera nti obutanyiiga kuba bagenda kunyiiga.
As a Sonia saying.
Because one thing you need to know is if any of these monies is allocated to UNMF, I think they will start by paying rent.
Okay.
A lot of things are going to be done with that money. A lot of things.
So
Nti mugenda kutuuka n'ekiseera ojjukira ebyaliwo nga UNMF yakatandika during the early days of UNMF.
Yeah.
Nti people used to go there ne bamuwaayo ettaano okitegeera. UNMF egenda kutandika okublowing up nga we yali dda. Tuve ku bya just ebya jam session. Many artists are going to camp at UNMF. Nabawulidde ssente zino. Kati ne president akyali interim. Tebanaba kukola. Kenzo.
Tebamukakasanga.
yeah, UNMF and UMA both have interim presidents.
Yes.
Wait.
Yeah.
Kenzo is not the
No.
actual president.
No.
So, Kati...
But guys, wait, let us first dissect that thing here on this show. How did Kenzo... Did any of you pick anything on how Kenzo became UNMF?
One, they chased out journalists.
They
was more political than...
Balonda, ne bagoba... The story is all over. Bagoba bannamawulire who are trying to ask questions, valid questions, okitegeera. So ne bagamba bagenda kuddamu bakole meeting endala. Enambulukufu. But ever since then...
Also, the other thing I want to interrogate is, from what I know, from my
who are the vice presidents?
Shiba.
Are they still vice presidents?
Shiba, who I don't...
Oba naye akyaliko, then oba...
There are some people who left their positions, resigned their positions, like Space Diana.
Space left. I remember Fina.
Fina left.
Yakomawo mu UMA.
She left and came back to UMA.
Yeah,
but that's the other thing we need to interrogate. Okay, from my experience of trying to register a company, you can no longer, back then you could do it, but now you can no longer register a company with the name Uganda National unless it is government, unless it's a government entity. If it's a private entity or an association or an NGO, it cannot have either Uganda or national if you're registering it with URSB. But I know also for a fact, unless I can be corrected otherwise, I know for a fact that UNMF is not a government entity. It's not a government body.
Yeah.
Have we ever sat down to try and interrogate how UNMF came to be? The existence of UNMF, or we are just going with what is?
UNMF was created amidst chaos. Which hotel was that?
Is it? Where are they are now?
Serene
Suits. Yes, actually, they started from Serene Suits, then they moved to Alul. In Mutu.
So one started amidst chaos. When you try to do a forensic on the existence of UNMF, you will end up with way more questions than answers. Like, for example, why aren't they at the home of artists?
Artists, yeah.
But in a random...
Also their mandate, what is their mandate?
In a random hotel in Mutundwe. What's their mandate?
And why are artists sleeping there? For me, that has been my biggest problem.
Like...
Why are artists sleeping there? You find artists who have slept there for months.
Yes.
Yes. Why? For me, that beats me,
like,
honestly.
Questions like, who are the associations they are bringing together?
What have they done?
What have they done?
Apart from the jam session.
And then, of course, the more important question is, why is the federation older than the associations that came together to federate?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
So, UNMF is confusion.
Okay, away from UNMF, it has a lot of questions. You didn't answer my question of what should an artist... Okay,
what should an artist...
What should this budget mean to them? And I'm talking about an artist who is only known to probably this room here and a few people outside here, but within the gates of national...
Nothing. This budget means nothing.
I mean, the budget is going to talk about skills development, capacity building,
nothing.
All of these
Like
things. And they're beautiful to hear.
That is pen on paper,
and
it should remain there.
What should this mean to him?
Nothing. Andre Baguma should continue working hard on his craft on his own. This budget means nothing. One, it's a very funny thing that you look at a budget and it doesn't involve anything that can elevate an artist from one place to the other. So that budget means nothing. Every artist achali kulure. There are some, because probably they are well positioned, that it could mean something to them. Nengo mimbi achetandikanga, like you said, known to us in this room. That budget means nothing. And that budget might even leave them more naked. But whatever, serious.
Wow. Okay, guys, I'm closing just one word from each one of you. Isaac, in one word, just in the next 6 months, okay, or a year. Just sum up the effects of the budget in one word, the outcomes, what you think will come out of this in just one word.
People are going to eat money.
Andrew.
In 1 year?
In just 1 year, what do you see happening out of the money, the budget?
Out of the budget, we are going to have a more divided industry.
Wow. Okay, guys, there you have it. People don't seem to see any fortune apart from doom from the 66 billion. But if 66 billion cannot solve the problems of this country, I wonder what can. You probably will, after this show, ponder on what needed to have been done before the 66 billion was injected. So probably that's where the problem lies. From the team and myself and the people behind the cameras and everything, the production team, want to thank you for being part of this this week's episode. This is episode 10. We shall be back next, episode 10. We shall be back next week with a fresh and more vibrant, more energetic, more whatever episode. Keep it here, the Artbeat. We shall see you next week.